Welcome to another episode of The Mind's Eye with Mike Lowry. As always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I do have a really good one for you today. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, and I wanted to bring no other than Tony, who is a therapist, to talk more about mental health. Stay tuned. All right, so as I stated, this is another episode of The Mind's Eye with Mike Lowry. I have a good friend here by the name of Tony. She and I connected a few months back on mental health, life coaching, therapy, and I thought that this month would be a great month for us to connect, given that it's mental health awareness. So I kind of wanted to pick her brain about her experience, what she does for a living, and kind of get some insight on how we can think better, have better mental health, or what have you. So can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I am a therapist, licensed clinical social worker. I have my own mental health private practice called A New Serenity, and I'm the owner of that practice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's get to it. So I wanted to ask you some questions since you're in the field and this is what you do. How did you get into therapy? Was it like a life-changing event? Was it something that happened that was like, I want to make a change or make a difference in my community? Or was it just something that, you thought was a cool job?
Well, it was several things. So I've been in social work for about 16 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was just at a particular job I was working, and I felt as though I was already doing some type of therapy, maybe just more advice that I was given to like my colleagues at work. And I said, I think I'm pretty good at this therapy thing. And then also there was someone who was at my job that mentioned that it's amazing how someone can see something in you that you don't see in yourself.
Absolutely.
And so with that confirmation, I was like, okay, I've been in the field for a while, but maybe I'll look into going back to school, obtaining my graduate degree, also becoming licensed with the state and such. And that's kind of more of how I got into mental health and therapy and things such as that. And I've also noticed certain things just within my own family and how we kind of shun certain people, how certain situations that we'll have, trying to understand like why that uncle act that way or so, and trying to really understand the whole dynamics of mental health. So
I'm sure a lot of times we see situations like you said, our family members, and not knowing that they're probably dealing with traumas or things that's happened. That's the why they're acting the way they're acting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with that being said, for a lot of people, we kind of deal with certain things that we don't understand that's causing anxiety or depression, and some of us don't even identify what mental health is. So what do you think mental health is exactly?
Mental health is truly your emotional well-being. It's how you handle things that's in your head. It's how you handle things regarding your emotions and your response to it, which leads to your actions.
Right.
And so that's the small part of mental health. And so understanding that your emotion can trigger other things in you, and that's like physically. So although we're talking about the emotions, but if your anxiety is high, are you sleeping well? Are you, if you are depressed, are you eating well, overeating and things? And how that can truly affect the physical part of you as well.
Right. So you think that like people have mental health because of traumas or things that happen or occur, or is just something that like, does anxiety stem from a place? Or is just something that just happens in a moment?
I think it's all of it.
Yeah.
It can truly come from like childhood traumas, so much of childhood trauma. And some may think that is like there was abuse and that is the reason why somebody's acting that way. It can just be something that someone said to a 10-year-old self, and it's like you took it a certain way or you didn't feel comfortable around certain people, and so now in relationships you tend to act a little different when you see that come up, when you are triggered by it. And that's why it's great to have somebody that has that that logic behind it, that education behind it, someone that can truly look into it and say, okay, the clinical piece of it, let me see what happened in your childhood. Let me see the reason why you are the way you are now.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of that. Like, people don't necessarily remember always of what hurt them, but they do remember how they felt about something that they may not remember. And so sometimes people can do something again that makes you feel the same way you felt prior, but it's hard to identify why you feel that way because you don't remember.
That's
it was so long ago.
Yes.
Yeah, so long ago. All right, so let's break it down. Let's keep it going. So a lot of times people don't have the resources. Like, some people in like professional careers have like what they call legal aid and resources to where they can go through their job to find therapy and things like that to support their mental health. Insurance, EAP. But there's a lot of us out here that don't have jobs like that can support their other resources. So as a family member, like, what do you think you could do as a family member to help someone that is dealing with mental health? Like, what kind of things that they can do to support them?
I guess depending on what exactly is going on. As a family member, you can be that listening ear.
Yeah.
You don't have to truly give the advice, but sometimes people just want to talk. They truly just want to talk and have somebody to listen to them.
Bored.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's, of course, different things that's on the websites and such, but even if you go into your doctor and you're talking to them about mental health, there are typically some free resources there. In the community, there's resources. The health department have resources as well. And so just having to do that research to venture out to see what is the best ways that I can cope with anxiety or dealing with grief, or if you're having some issues around like seasonal depression, what are some things that you're able to do?
Right. Okay. So with that being said, let's see. So some of us, we go throughout our day. We go to work, we go to school, we deal with our relationships, and we're dealing with mental health, but we don't know it. Is there ways that we can identify it? Because like, we're stressed and we're bothered, but we don't really know what the thing is. Is there anything that we can do to kind of take a step back and be like, try to address the situation, or kind of like look at it differently to see what's going on?
Absolutely. So truly identifying those physical things that you're noticing. So if you're not able to concentrate for some reason at work and you was able to do it before, if you notice a change in your appetite, if you notice a change in your sleep or lack of or too much of sleep, even journaling your thoughts at that moment. So as you stated with your example, if you're going throughout the day and you're not understanding the reason why, kind of writing those things down and then being able to talk to your doctor about it. If you let your doctor know, they can see the signs of there may be something going on where you need to speak to a therapist about it. So I would say that those are some identifying symptoms that you can notice. You may need to see a therapist.
Okay, so let's say you have a therapist, right?
Right.
And let's say it's Friday and you don't see a therapist till next Thursday. I always like to give this example when like people go to church and get that feel good on Sunday, but their problem happened on Tuesday. They gotta wait till Sunday to get the Holy Spirit again, or what have you. So what do you think are some self-tips that we can do to kind of like get us through week to week if we do have a therapist right now, or leading up to finding the right one for us? Is there anything that we can do within ourselves and our day-to-day to kind of help with our mental health?
Yeah, so if you seeing a therapist, truly taking notes. That is the biggest thing. Even with clients and myself, I have a therapist. And so some of the things that she is mentioning, I'm taking notes. So making sure you take those notes so you're able to refer back to it. So if you feel triggered or you notice something different that's going on, something that you mentioned to your therapist before, you can look at those coping skills and the things that you need to do. Being able to journal is another big piece, and I always like promote journaling, writing your thoughts down and everything. Some other things is if you're able to spend some time to yourself. I know that as adults, as parents, as working individuals and such, people are around us all the time. I know you may have heard, like, when you pulling up at home and you just sitting in the garage or in the driveway.
I got a whole episode it's called 10 minutes. Like separating from everything from 10 minutes. From job to your family, 10 minutes. From work to back, just finding that 10 minutes of just yourself. And then I think that can better your mental health because I think we take our work home or we take our home to work. We don't have an opportunity to kind of separate the two.
Absolutely.
And then we go to work with, feeling like she didn't do right or he didn't do right or something. And then you take it home, it's like the person at work was X, Y, and Z. And it's just like everything, you don't separate. My dad always say, be where you are while you're there.
Yes.
And I don't think we do that enough. Mindfulness.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then in the midst of mindfulness, those 10 minutes can be a meditation as well.
Absolutely.
And so if you need to just disconnect, not having your work phone or your computer beside you, if you work from home, having it in a separate area so that you're not going back and forth between the two of your home life and your work life. Meditation, I'm truly promoting that with all my clients, truly taking that time frame, if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. Even if it's working like at a hospital and it's very busy, if you have 5 minutes to just stop and just close your eyes and be able to do some meditation, you have different apps on your phone. You can always pull things up on YouTube to be able to find like guided meditation and just take some time to just close your eyes and pause for the moment, being mindful. Those things.
For me, what I do is I talk to myself.
Ooh, I do too.
Yeah, like I think I'm a huge advocate for talking to myself, even in the good, but especially in the bad. Like if I do stuff that like, I'm like, man, that probably wasn't the best decision. And I'd be getting on myself bad, and I think it's good too, because like you can take it from yourself a little bit more so than, coming from somebody else. So that helps me a lot. It kind of like helps me reason with the decision I made and how to overcome the decision I made and how to not make that same mistake again. And just, reasoning and talking it to myself, because I may not be able to get to my therapist. My dad might not answer the phone, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes when you pray, it don't come in a form the answer don't come in a form that you want it to immediately. It may come tomorrow or on his time, if you will, or what have you. So what do you do in that meantime? For me, I talk to myself.
And then if you're driving, you can't write. You can't journal real quick. So if you truly need to get it out, then just talking. I would do that. I have a nice little drive every day to work. And so with that drive, every now and then if something was to come up, I really try to talk through it. Like, was there something else that I could have done different with that interaction? Was it something that I didn't think of? Was it, and I try not to be hard on myself because I'm big on giving yourself grace and that self-talk. But talking it through and trying to identify, like, or what would my therapist say at this moment? Where are some things that I need to truly focus on to be able to move forward? And by the time I get to my destination, I just feel relieved, like I had a conversation with a best friend, but really it's just me having a conversation with myself.
Yeah, that's good. I think my mental health stems from also acceptance. Like when life happens and things occur, like I've learned to accept them as they are. And I think that I can process things better because I'm accepting regardless of the outcome and how it goes. Just being able to be in a place of accepting it, because I guess either way it's for my good.
Right.
You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? That's the way I see it. So, okay. So given the fact that we go on our daily lives or what have you, if you can think of one thing that you can say that is the importance of mental health, what do you think it would be?
The one thing, regulating your emotions. Regulating your emotions, truly getting a grasp on that. Because if you're not able to regulate your emotions, you can cause chaos.
Yeah.
And it can be as simple as you already upset and you get on the highway and someone else upsets you on the highway, and instead of regulating your emotions, you're going after that person. You're so angry. Doesn't have to be on the highway. It can be in the office. It could be in any environment. Could be at the grocery store in the parking lot,
Yeah.
and you already upset, and you're not sure how to regulate that, and so you do something that you don't want to do. So that would be the biggest thing, is trying to truly understand. Like, you may be upset with one thing. How can you overcome it so that you're not acting on those emotions that you have?
Yeah, I like to look at it as like when like the people like identify things as triggers. I always say we have two ways to respond or accept something. We can accept it negatively. Well, actually three ways. We can accept it negatively, we can accept it positively, or we can also, just be open-minded about it. Because not everybody's intentions are to like hurt you. You know what I mean? So because you have a trigger based on their tone and how they said something, they don't know what your triggers are. They don't know what you went through. They don't know any of that.
Absolutely.
But immediately, most of us take it left and be like, well, F them and this, and that. And it's like, that's not even their intentions. Let's just give people more grace and just understand that, like, maybe you should have a conversation with that person and see, what they meant, by it. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you for your time in this mental health month of May. And we should definitely do this again sometimes. Is there anything that you would like to leave with the people?
Of course, I'm just big on therapy, and to truly understand that we have so much stigma in our own community regarding therapy. Being able to understand that when you go to the doctor once a year to have your annual checkup. We go to the dentist twice a year. We may do other things if it's like hygiene things such as your hair and nails or anything like that. Why not seek therapy? Why not have somebody that you can go to, that you can truly be your authentic self, be honest with? You don't have to worry about the information going out to someone else at all. You just being able to be free. And the frequency of therapy, some will actually think when you have a therapist, you are at a particular level where you're manic and having an episode at the moment, and you're suicidal and all these things, and it's like a long range spectrum, because that may not be where you are. It can be something as simple as someone being a high achiever, CEO of a major company, but they don't know how to manage stress. And not managing stress is showing symptoms of anxiety, and that get to a point where not able to regulate your emotion. You see how it can turn to something different.
A trickle down effect.
Absolutely. So the frequency of therapy, you can see someone weekly if that's what the recommendation is. Twice a month. It can be monthly. I know I see my therapist monthly. You can really see them quarterly, but having somebody that you can call, so if you do have more of a longer range, let's say monthly or quarterly, you're able to call them. It's like, hey, something happened. I wasn't expecting this. So, can I be seen? There are certain times of the year that some may need to see their therapist a little bit more than the remaining
on the season.
Absolutely. It could be a reminder of somebody of a situation or something. And you may have to see them just a little bit more, but then once that passed, then you're able to go back to your routine. So it's frequency of it, and it's truly up to you, your therapist, what your plans are, what your goals that you want to achieve out of therapy.
So we focus on getting our hair done, making sure our clothes are nice, the haircut, getting your fingernails done.
Absolutely.
But nobody's really taking the time to get their mind right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we need to focus more on trying to get our minds equivalent to getting our hair done, our nails done, and all the above.
Yes.
So where can the people find you? Since you're a therapist and you're out here giving this goodness gracious to these people, where can they find you?
So my website is anewserenity.com. You can connect with me on there. There's an inquiry spot on there that you could send a message. We could chat back and forth. My email information is on there as well, which is tony@anewserenity.com. Social media, doing better.
There you go.
But Instagram is Real Talk with Tony. And so you can feel free to follow me. Feel free if you have questions and such, you're able to do that as well.
That's awesome. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Definitely got to do this again. I'm all about helping the people, giving back, and supporting, Mind's Eye, mental health. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, that concludes another episode of The Mind's Eye with Mike Lowry. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Also, don't forget to take care of your mental health. I'll see you again soon. Peace.